So how to work from home with Herbalife business. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. This is Jean here from Authentic Energy. So I am so happy to be talking about this topic here today because I know that a lot of you have asked me repeatedly, exactly how does Herbalife business work if you want to make it as something that's flexible and you can do it from home. Right. So today in this video, we're going to go over the several ways, the 5 ways you can actually do Herbalife business from home. And these 5 different methods of working from home for the Herbalife business are purely based on my personal experience and how I believe these methods can also help you build your Herbalife business from home as well. Okay, whether if you're watching this as a new distributor or you are thinking about joining Herbalife business, I believe this video might bring some value to you, right? So please take notes and pay close attention to, the stuff I'm about to share next. Okay, so basically I have summarized that there are 5 different ways that you can actually operate your Herbalife business from home. Okay, and Herbalife business is actually very flexible. Okay, anyone can do it, but it's not for everyone. Okay, so whether if you're like a stay-at-home mom or if you're someone that has a part-time job but you want to also build it up, in a kind of non-pressured, or you can build it up from your own space, from wherever you like, this is actually great for you. Okay, so number 1 method that you can actually turn this into a very successful work from home business is by utilizing social media platforms. Okay, so social media is my go-to Herbalife DMO, daily method of operation. And it is, we're in year 2023, right? Pretty much everybody's on social media, and social media can be a great platform for anyone to do their business, right? And get amazing customers and also get amazing, what do you call it? Lead attractions. So social media is really my go-to place to really build any kind of business. If I was to start a new business today, I'll definitely utilize social media again, to build up, the following, the influence, and also to, build relationship with my audience and, turn the audience into customers, right? So there's so many different social media platforms, and I'm not going to go into details of which one you should be using and the pros and cons and advantage of each platform. But I have made a separate training talking about how you can use social media to attract customers in a separate video. You can check it out from the link above if you haven't seen it. But the main takeaway I want you guys to get from today's video is that it's important for you to really niche down into one specific specialty area for yourself, and also to pick one platform, especially if you're new in the business, right? Pick just one social media platform and just go all in on it. Okay. And I don't really suggest people to be everywhere, right? I know that I myself are on several different platforms. And that is because I have been doing social media for a long time. I actually started off with Facebook only. Okay. Back in the days, back in the mid 2010s, right? It was only Facebook for me. And then I started Instagram after Facebook. But, for the longest time, my biggest following and also the platform that I focused mostly on was actually Facebook, until in the recent few years, I basically shifted my focus to YouTube. Okay. So even though I am on several different platforms, but my main, I'll say more than 90% of my focus, my effort, my commitment is actually on building my YouTube. Okay, so YouTube is basically where I, create valuable content, or where I, build relationship with the viewers. You are watching this right now, which means, you are my, whether if you've been following me for some time or you just found my video today, I can tell you YouTube is my biggest focus here, my go-to social media platform to help me build my Herbalife business. Okay, but obviously it's different for everyone, right? So it doesn't matter which one you pick, because I believe each platform has its own advantage. Each platform has its own pros and cons, and it really comes down to which one you like, right? You have to really enjoy using it, and it has to probably fit your lifestyle, your personality. If you're someone that loves live videos or short form videos, then TikTok or Instagram Reel, right? But if you're someone that prefers pictures and words, Facebook or LinkedIn, it might be your go-to tool, right? So it's really different for everyone. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which one you use, right? And I don't want you guys to compare just because like you see another Herbalife coach that does really, really well and amazing on Instagram, right? But it forces, so you feel like, you're pressure to do the same as well. But if it really doesn't really kind of vibe with you, you're like, I really love Facebook, then go for Facebook, right? And also, if you have already got some existing accounts on the social media platforms, take a look at which account that you have the most, the highest number of followers or subscribers or friends, right? So if it's Facebook, then I'll say, stick to what you have, right? And then just build from there, right? And if you're building from scratch, then, you can actually just do a bit of comparison. Don't take too long to compare and just pick whichever that you feel is the right thing, right? If you like pictures and videos, Instagram, I know a lot of people on Instagram these days, pick it and just, go all in on this platform. Okay. You don't want to spread your energy too thin by being everywhere and be everything to everybody, which brings me back to my point about, take a niche, right? So I mentioned that, it's important for you to have a niche, but if you're still new, then I'll say take your time. But in summary, what it means is that, for the Herbalife coaches, right, it's very easy for a lot of new Herbalife coaches to be like, say, talking about everything, right? Weight loss, fitness, muscle building, digestion, anti-aging, immunity. You basically talk about a very broad scope of health and wellness, right? But it works, okay, but then it really works better if you can actually pick your voice, like pick your message, your core message, right? And that will actually make you stand out from the rest. And also, this is how you actually build your own like online presence, right? So building online presence meaning that, over time, because of the way you put out your content, because the way that, you tell your stories and you get the message and information across to your audience, you become the authority. Okay. You become the go-to person in their space where if they need to search for, that particular topic that's within your niche, they go to you. Right. So not necessarily that you have to turn yourself into like an Herbalife expert, right? Or like a product supplement expert. But let's say, think about why did you come into the business? Why did you what kind of transformation did you experience from using Herbalife products, right? That's a good starting point. Let's say, you used to have very bad digestion issues, but then after taking Herbalife products, for some time, after you change your lifestyle, you work with your coach, you no longer experience those digestion issues, right? Now you can enjoy your life. Now you can be bloating free, right? All thanks to the nutrition and the lifestyle. So this will become kind of like, your voice, right? This will become kind of like your central message, talking about digestion, talking about how the products and also the lifestyle, new lifestyle help you, become a healthier person, help you get rid of like those digestion issues, right? So that could easily be your niche. And then, you will naturally attract people that probably could be looking for digestion, solutions, and they may experience similar symptoms as, you before. And now they found you and they're like, oh my God, I really, really can relate to your story. And then I really love what you're sharing here. So this will be a very organic way for you to turn like an audience or lead to a customer. Okay. So this is just like a simple example there. Just remember, pick one social media platform, go all in on it, and also pick your particular niche. Okay. And what is your core message? Your core message has to be very specific for someone that probably, knows how you feel. Maybe someone that shares the same problem you used to have, right? Okay. So this is the first method. The next method that you can take for working from home is this applies to everybody that want to do the business. Basically, you need to have consistent conversations. Okay, right. So Herbalife business is actually very simple. We use the products. Okay, we wear the brand and we talk. what we share and we talk, right? So, how successful you want your business to be, it really depends on how often you talk about it and how many people that you talk to. Okay. But by this, I don't mean to vomit the product, vomit the brand 24/7 and, push people into buying from you, right? I'm talking about having quality transformational conversations, which I mean, okay, what is transformational conversation? By which I mean, when you have a conversation with someone, like a prospect, right? Instead of just blabbing on about how good a product is, you should try it. It will help you lose weight. It will help you get rid of your stomach bloating, blah, blah, blah. You actually have to practice listening. Okay. So half of the time, more than half of the conversation, I'll say 80% of conversation comes from listening. Okay. So you actually have to learn some important skills in terms of listening, in terms of identifying what is your prospect's problem, right? So when you have the conversation with them, right, they will be telling you about maybe certain discomfort, physical discomfort, or certain desire for a particular body weight, or desire to feel bloating free, for example, or the desire to be able to have better athletic performance, right? So they could be sharing different types of problems with you, and you as a coach, you really have to listen very, very not carefully, but I'll say attentively, right? Pay attention to what they have to say to you and identify their problems, and then see where you can actually fill in the gap, right? Because they're telling you about their pains, they're telling you about their problems. So this is where you can actually identify, okay, how can I help this person with the Herbalife nutrition products we have? Which programs, might be suitable for them, right? Which programs they could, get started on that would actually help them, resolve issues they don't have time to eat, or, they don't feel energetic enough. They don't feel like they're getting enough protein, for example, right? So it's important to have those quality conversations. And when, your prospects actually get their problems heard, they feel like they're being listened to, they're being heard, the natural, the relationship actually naturally builds on that. And, the trust is, organically built as well. So that, given the right reasonable amount of time, they will actually want to become your customer, your paid customer, right? So this is very important. And you do have to keep track of how many conversations that you are having each day, or according to your own schedule, right? Because if you're just kind of solely expect that, oh, my leads or my customers will just come naturally from me posting online, then you are wrong. Okay. Posting online, yes, posting videos and making content is very important, but also it's about what do you do with it afterwards, right? The people that respond to your post, the people that write to you or, comment, interact with your post, right? What do you do with those, leads? What do you do with those people? That is the key. It's not just about expecting, sales to happen just because you post a few videos or you post a few pictures, right? So this is actually very, very important, right? So remember to always have consistent conversations. And, it's really up to you. Some of you might be asking me how many conversations am I supposed to have, right? It's really up to you. And also it's up to you and your upline, what kind of action plans that you have set according to your business goal, right? So obviously the bigger your business goal, the more money you want to make, the more people you want to help, the more conversations you need to have. Okay. So this is the key. Remember, always have conversations. Now, next. Okay, this is one of my favorite, host events. Okay, so a lot of you, if you have heard my story from the beginning, how I started Herbalife, for half of the time, the first 4 or 5 years, I basically was operating from a nutrition club. So I would always focus on hosting in-person events. So my specialty was fitness events, boot camps. Right. But, if you're someone that's, into hosting home events, home parties, you can easily do spa parties or shake parties or nutrition parties or sharing different recipes. Right. So there's the sky's the limit. Right. There's so many options you can go for. And, if you're someone that, doesn't want to host in-person event, no problems. You can do virtual event. right? So since the pandemic, the virtual event, Zoom events have been made so convenient for any of us to host. And you don't have to host a long one. You can keep it under an hour or just about an hour, and it can be based on any topic of your choice, right? But also remember, try to tie all the topics, tie them all into like nutrition and health and wellness, so that it's easy for you to basically have your conversations around, like healthy eating or healthy lifestyle, right? And that will actually organically help you, like bring your audience attention into Herbalife, right? And into your products and services, right? So like, although like you can actually host any type of events that you like, whatever your interest is, but still remember this, right? Incorporate the products into your events, right? So for example, I came from hosting fit camp background, like doing boot camp every week. So with the boot camp, it's not just about working out, right? Organize a group of people to work out together, but also, incorporate the shakes and the tea so that the people can actually experience the result of, drinking the tea, how it helps them with the energy and, the calorie burning during workout. And also after the workout, we serve the shakes so that the shakes can actually help everybody replenish the lost nutrients and help their body and muscles recover from the workout, right? So you can see how like having the nutrition and the workout combined together is seamlessly basically introduce people into Herbalife and into the lifestyle, right? So if you're having a nutrition party, a recipe party, you can think about how you can teach people how to make certain desserts or something very easy with the, nutrition powder, the protein powder or the tea powder, right? So that way you are actually organically introducing the products without, coming across as like very salesy, right? Like I don't recommend people to have a sales party where you invite people over and then you start introducing them to all the products like that. Nobody likes a party like this because it's straight up sales, right? And they're not getting any values out of it. Like the organic and the most authentic type of party is when you are, having fun and when you're organizing a party that you also enjoy, right? And you're inviting family and friends or like different attendees to come and try something and to experience something together, right? And then the products are just like a natural part of it. Then this is actually the best way for you to actually have potential customers. Okay. So this is something for you guys to think about. And of course, if you have any good ideas, let me know in the comment below. And from my personal experience, I've done like all types of events, lots of fitness events. Yes. I've done dance parties as well. I've also done different spa parties too. So spa parties usually based on like Herbalife skin products, and we have a table with everybody sitting around it, doing going through the steps of like putting on the mask and cleanse and moisturize. And not only that, but we also serve like the collagen drink. We talk about the benefits of the nutrition for the skin as well. So that was one of my favorite too. And also virtual events, I've hosted many different types, like things like nutrition party, shake parties, virtual spa parties, virtual webinars, virtual dance parties, different workshops. So like all of them work really well, I can tell you. Okay. Like you are not limited by the technology, by the space, right? You're only limited by your own imagination, right? So just have fun. And, this is like applicable to everybody, whether you're not an introvert or you're an extrovert, right? I guess extroverts would really love the in-person parties, right? In-person events more, right? So pick what works for you. Okay. And the next one is, yes, I actually highly recommend this. This is probably not something that you would do every day or a lot, but it really depends on your social network, right? So collaboration is something that I highly recommend people to do, whether if you already have a wide network or you don't. If you don't, but you're willing to try, then, you can do some door knocking. You can reach out, right? Do some cold calling and reach out to different organizations and communities or local library, church, and see what events they've got coming up. And for me personally, one of the cold calling I've done in the past was basically just to approach a local supermarket. Yeah. I did this with a friend of mine. We basically walked down the commercial strip in the district. We basically went door knocking, like door to door, but not every single business, right? Like we definitely picked some of the like the banks and some of the offices, and eventually we ended up in this local supermarket, and we talked to the customer service and introduced ourselves and said, we just want to offer free service. We want to basically make our community healthier. So we want to offer this free wellness evaluation to your staff if that's possible. And I felt maybe they would say no, right? Because, like 9 out of 10 people will reject you. I'm just putting it out there unless you know them. Okay. We didn't know any of these people. It was pure cold calling, like cold door knocking. And the manager actually came back and said, yeah, that would be great. So we set up a time and place. The week after that, we went back and did a wellness scan for a lot of the staff while they were on break inside the staff room. And the feedback was really good. And I was surprised that the manager called me and said, we would like to have you guys back again. And then after the new year, I remember they said, we would like to have you guys back again, but would you be able to do it to our customers, right? So we set up a stand. It didn't cost either one of us anything to, do that, right? We just have to spend like a couple of hours at, one of the aisles in their supermarket, set up the stand and offer the free evaluation to the customers. And the customers really loved it too. And, till this day, I still have a couple of like loyal customers that I got from that experience. So it really goes to show that, you're not limited by anything, and your customers can happen anywhere and anytime, right? You never know, like where this customer will pop up from, right? So this is like something that I would suggest you guys to do. And like really the sky's the limit, right? There's so many like communities and organizations you can reach out to. And of course, you have a very wide network and you already know people from certain, like, I don't know, offices or different workplaces or their own business, or even like pop-up events or market events. You could definitely reach out to them and see, be creative, right? And see how you can actually mesh the two together. But of course, before you guys do that, you do have to check the rules and regulations and policies that are put out by Herbalife corporate, because there are still boundaries, there are still rules around like how far you can go, right? Like the obvious would be like, you can't really say collaborate with a shop and say, can you sell my products there? Like, can you sell my Herbalife products there? Right? That is the no-no, right? Because that the products can only be distributed, directly from you, or, through direct distribution from an authorized distributor, right? So you cannot like leave your products at someone's shop and, tell them to do like a consignment sale for you or something like that, right? So that is a no-go zone. But you can actually still be creative in terms of like, how do you collaborate with different parties to promote, right? To promote yourself, because you are the brand, remember? Okay, to promote yourself, and the Herbalife products are actually naturally part of your products and services, and they're part of your product and services and coaching, right? So this is something I want you guys to remember. Okay, now the last one, this one's very, very important. Okay, last but not least, remember to create your own email list. Okay, I know a lot of people just can't be bothered with email these days and questioning if people still check emails. I'll tell you this, people do. Like, more than 90% of people still check their emails like every day. And I myself, I have several accounts. I have work accounts and personal accounts. I check my emails like several times a day. Okay. And I actually personally love receiving emails from the people that I love, I follow, and my mentors, right? I love getting the daily tips or the weekly tips and newsletters from different sources. Okay. And I highly recommend you guys to create your own email list, because if you feel like, I've already got my contacts on my social, like on my Facebook, or I can find them easily on Instagram, why do I still need it? That is because you don't own your contacts. Okay. Facebook owns your contacts. Okay. Instagram owns the contacts. Imagine if they decide to shut down, or if there are some glitches, right, that the platform is down, then, you don't have access to your contacts, right? Because you rely on using their platform to get into communication with your contacts. Whereas if you have your customers and prospects email, right? Then you can reach out to them anytime. And of course, better yet, if some of the customers are in your inner circle, right, you have a better relationship with them, you have their, phone contacts, that's even better. Right. So it's very important for you to own your own contact list. Right. And with a list, like you can, it actually helps you to be very organized so that you actually have a good list of like who are your prospects and who are your customers, and you're able to actually set up a system whereby you can choose how you want to contact them and how you want to build your relationship with your email list on a regular basis. Right. So I personally have over, I think, 2,500 contacts in my email list, and I send out weekly newsletter to everyone, giving my updates about my life and different tips. And I personally really enjoy that kind of like system because it's much more organized for me than like having to manage a Facebook group or some kind of like Instagram group or something like that, where I feel like that's a lot more scattered for my energy if I have to always think about like content and things like that. Whereas with the email list, I can easily, share a piece of, content or information, some valuable content through words, but also that can also direct people into, like a free guide that I have, or maybe like a new video that I launch, right? So that I see this as a, community. Like I see my list as a community, even though like people cannot interact with each other, but it's like it's a more clean way for me to actually really get in contact with my, my list, rather than like having to look for them on Facebook or having random messages on Facebook and things like that. Right. So I'm just speaking from my experience. I mean, obviously I've also got years of experience of organizing, managing Facebook groups, but I found that, for my lifestyle right now as a work from home mom with, a second baby coming, it is much easier for me to like streamline and simplify my business operation in this way. Right. And this is something that I highly recommend you guys to look into as well. Right. So you don't have to be everywhere, and you don't have to feel like, oh my God, you're so busy just using your social media all day, having conversations and, making leads and making content and doing all these things. Right. So really be smart with how you use your time, and be smart with which platform, which tools that you choose. Okay. And then that can actually ensure you to have a very organized, successful home business. Okay. So basically, these are the 5 different ways that you can, work from home with Herbalife business, right? And, you don't have to do all of them. Right. I've done all of them before. And at the moment, I'm basically just focused on, like 3 things, like social media, my YouTube, and consistent conversations, and create email list. Right. I don't really do much events anymore. Not at the moment, at least not for the next half a year. And collaboration wise, not so much at the moment, given my current, maternal and pregnancy situation. But, in the future, I'm definitely open to more of those again, right? So it's really entirely up to you. Look at your personality, your personal preference, and also, your environment, your network. What do you prefer, right? Sky's the limit. And I'm pretty sure there's like tons of other methods that are not mentioned here today that you can actually utilize. Have a chat with your upline, about, what would be the best action plan, what would be the best, DMO for you to build your, home business with Herbalife. Right. And before I go, I do have to remind you guys a few very, very important points to help you succeed in this business. Okay. Really, really, really got to remember, time management is really everything. You really got to time manage yourself. Okay. Especially if you're doing this business as a part-time or full-time, doesn't matter, how much you do this business, like side hustle, whatnot. You really need to know how much time you have first. Okay. Don't be unrealistic and assume that you have all the time in the world after work to do your business, because that's not realistic. Turns out, I know I've had a lot of downlines like that before, and turns out after work, they're too tired. After work, they got to spend time with their family. After work, they got all these social engagements. They just never found the time to do the business. All they did it whenever they think about it or whenever they feel like it, right? And I don't want you guys to be like that sometime I feel like it kind of entrepreneur. I want you to be like committed and diligent and be on track with, what you are committed to, right? So if you look at your schedule, have a chat with your upline, right? Like this is what I do with my downline. The first meeting I have with them is that I help them look at their schedule. Like, let's see realistically how many hours you got in a week to do your business, right? Like if you don't have 10 hours, that's fine. If you only have 2 hours or 1 hour, that's okay. But how are we going to best utilize those couple of hours to build your business, right? And this is how you prioritize your time, and this is how you can actually be realistically committed, right? And after that, right, you have to look at, okay, I should actually talk about track productivity after this, but anyway, I just got the order wrong. So it's important for you to look at your time and how you prioritize it, and what activities and action plans that you plan to do during that time you have. Remember, that time you have is your business hour, okay? So don't misuse it. And then next is that you need to have a solid customer care system. Okay, so when I talk about a system, I don't mean something very complicated. You don't need to like buy some kind of CRM software or pay some programmer to write something for you, right? You don't need to. A system is simply something that you set up for yourself. It's basically a series of steps that you do, and then you do them repeatedly. Basically, yeah, that's it. Something that you can do repeatedly, and it's consistent, and it's something that basically helps you stay organized and helps you know, okay, first step I do this, second step I do this, and third, and then how do I repeat the whole thing, right? So the more you do this, the more you master how to take care of your customers, right? Like, for example, once you got a lead, what do you do with that lead next, right? And how do you convert them to a, paid customer? And what happens when that customer buys from you? Okay, what do you do after that, right? When do you send them the meal guides? And what kind of like support materials and like extra community support that the customer needs to receive, right? And then when do you follow up on this customer? And when do you introduce the customer to your events? How do you invite this person from one event to another, right? And then after the events, how do you follow up, right? These are just some examples of the steps that you need to think about inside your system, so that you don't become like everywhere. And sometimes you forget, oh my God, I forgot to follow up on this customer. Oh my God, I had a great lead, but then I forgot about this person. I forgot to follow up. Or, oh, this person bought from me, I forgot to check in, or I forgot to put in the order and all that, right? And this is when the business can fall apart, when you are not paying attention to, the steps, right? So it's very important to actually set up a system for you. Okay. The system can look really different for everybody, but, work out the system that works the best for you. Okay. Next is track your productivity. Yes, this is actually my favorite one. Okay. Apart from time management, track productivity, because I made a lot of mistakes in the past, and I've seen lots of my downlines do the same thing, right? They're not fully utilizing the time that's supposed to be for the business, right? Sometimes we get caught up making lots of content to post, right? So you could be spending like 2 hours, 3 hours, a whole day creating content for your Instagram or whatnot. But then what do you do with the content afterwards, right? Some people just expect that, I'll just post content every day and expect, my customers to come in, expect sales to happen. That's not going to happen. Okay, then what's the point? Okay, what's the point? You create a content, okay, that helps you build some kind of, your reputation, your authority, and also that helps you draw like interest, like draw curiosity and interest in, right? But it is what you do after that. What kind of conversation you initiate with the people that interact with your post, that's the key. Right? Because I found a lot of times people don't bother interacting with the people that interact with the post, right? And they make a comment, they don't really reply. They expect people to look at the post and go, I want to buy from you, right? Or I want to start a program with you. That's not going to happen. Okay. Imagine you see someone's post. Would you want to buy from that person right away? I don't think so, right? So like, I'm sharing this honestly with you guys. I am very active here on YouTube, but I know that a lot of you guys don't, like become my customer right away, right? You probably have to watch a ton of my videos, or maybe you wait for a year, you follow me for a few months, and then you kind of feel like, oh no, you know what? I can trust this person. Maybe I'll become, Jean's customer, right? I'm just putting it out like it is. It's how it works in the business world, right? Like you do have to be proactive and reach out to the people that interact with you, and, like really have that quality, that transformational conversation with them, right? And not only doing that, but you have to really track, like, how many quality conversations you have in a day. Am I doing my IPA, income producing activities, during my work hours, not work, like, your business hours, your Herbalife business hours, and track how many leads that you get, right, per post, or which post gets you most leads. And from those leads, how many people become, like customers, right? So these are the things you do have to pay attention to, so that you become more aware of, what kind of content that gets you more attraction, that gets you more leads, and what kind of content you can double down on, right? And what kind of messages and what kind of things you can, like, talk more about, right? So this is like the important part. You need to track your productivity. Okay, and know your numbers. So these two are very similar, right? Like knowing your numbers is not just about knowing like how much profit and cost and loss and gain that you have, but also knowing like the volume points, your own volume points, and also how many volume points you need to have in order for you to get to the next marketing plan, right? If that's like a big goal for you. And also at the same time, when you do manage your numbers, like when you do, take good care of your finance, your finance will take care of you. Yeah, seriously, it's like that. I'm not talking about being obsessed with like, oh my God, I gotta make money. I'm talking about like, basically being not emotionally attached to your numbers, but also be logical, right? Like be a scientist with your numbers. So your numbers can actually help you gauge, how your business is going, and not just about, your sales and the business. It's actually about how you are, how you're growing, how you're developing as a distributor, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, right? So like if your numbers are down, then you can actually take a look at, what can you do to improve, right? Improve maybe the number of leads coming in, right? What can you do to improve your conversation skills, right? Like maybe what kind of events you can host instead that can, help you improve these things, right? So this is very, very important. I actually made a video previously talking about money mindsets for Herbalife distributors. You can check it out if you haven't seen it. I should talk more about numbers in that video in depth. Okay. And last but not least, consistency. Yes. A lot of people that quit the business or give up on the business, it's actually really due to the fact that they were not consistent. They were not consistent with their, like productivities. They were not consistent with their IPAs. They were not consistent with the conversations or like basically all the actions, right? And this is actually common in a lot of businesses, not just in a Herbalife business, but, it's a very common thing because, a lot of people just lack that discipline. Truth to be told, right? I was like that at the beginning as well. And I would just kind of like go by my feelings, go by the flow, go with my flow. But after a while, as I've grown up and matured, I realized that, if there's a lack of consistency, then there's basically just a lack of progress, right? If you want to progress in somewhere, like, get somewhere in your business, in your life, you have to be consistent with like certain habits and certain actions, right? So this is very, very important. If you like decided to commit to doing Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, be consistent there. Right. So this is something that I want to remind everybody. All right. So I think this is it for today. And I hope you guys have learned a lot from, like this video talking about 5 different ways that you can do your Herbalife business from home. And of course, if you guys still have any more questions, feel free to like reach out to me on my Instagram or Facebook, or, like write your question in the comment below. And, if there's anything I haven't mentioned here before or in today's video, then of course, reach out to me as well. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Okay. And also, if some of you are interested to work with me, get some kind of like Herbalife business coaching, you can actually book a one-to-one private coaching session with me. You can find out the link in the description below. And also you'll find the links and information on how you can work with me in other ways as well. Okay. Thank you so much guys for watching today's video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. Take care. Thank you.